Good morning. Good morning.
Good
Welcome.
morning.
It is, let's see, just about 6 o'clock in the morning. So there's at least 4 of us who are insane enough to be up here outside in a playground doing exercise, which is pretty awesome.
I'm fine.
Well, there's 5 of us. Farrah's here, but she's not actually doing the exercise. She just wanted to point that out. Anyway, boot camp today. We are going through our usual 4 posts, 4 exercises per set, mostly oriented around push-ups and some leg work and some ab work, right? That's kind of the theme. We do a minute of each exercise with a little bit of rest afterwards, and then we repeat the post. So we actually go through this 8 times. Never quantify it like that, it sounds worse. I mean better. I don't think I have anything to announce. Do I have anything to announce, Farrah?
No.
No announcements to make. So welcome. It's a little muggy out, right? It's warm.
Helps the joints.
Helps the joints, right? I feel looser, right? At our age, we don't have to worry about that kind of thing, though, because our joints are nice and loose, flexible, right?
With Motrin, yeah.
Right. I got a fake one. A couple people with fake ones around, right? All right. So let's get started. I got the timer going. So I just want you to start with some high knee lifts, right? Just start picking them up. And as always, the warm-up, our first warm-up in this class is just moving generally, getting things loose and warm so that we're ready to do the first post, which really doubles as the more intense warm-up, right? Get your heart rate up, get things really warm, and then by that time, we're going, right? The sweat is flowing, the heart is pumping. Now just take that into a little more of a circular move, so just trying to open up the hips. I like to imagine I'm picking my foot up over something and kind of stepping over it. We used to do an exercise like this actually to work on hip mobility. You could do that same move, but then put your heel down right next to the other one and then bring it back around again like this. So you can kind of take that move another direction where I'm lifting my foot up over something, turning out, but I'm trying to keep my hips facing you like this. The whole idea here is to get the hip to circle through its whole range of motion. Right? And then I'm going to turn sideways to you, but you can do this. What's that, Farrah?
9 people at home.
Wow. Farrah says there's 9 of you at home. I don't know who you are, though. Who are you?
Michael, Sharon, Mindy, Lynn,
Hi, Michael. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Mindy.
Jillian,
Jillian. And did you say Lynn?
Lynn.
And Lynn. Hi, Lynn. All right. Well, all right. So, leg swing, right? Pick your foot up. Try to reach your hand. I said swing, but I really mean it's lift, right? I don't want you to swing that leg with momentum. I want you to try to lift it up and then step back for a little bit of balance. So see, I've taken a nice dramatic pose here. Gone into my lift and then boom, right back to a new pose. So that's just a way of showing control and balance. I'm gonna do one more and then I'm gonna switch legs.
Mary's here. Mary.
Hi, Mary. So Farrah's watching the feed, so if you have any comments to make, she'll let me know. But I'm glad you're all here joining us. All right, let's face the front. Arm circles. Keep your feet moving though. I'm just gonna keep a little shaking my legs or marching them or something. I don't want to stand totally still. Right? Everything's moving. It's not going to be hard to warm up here today. Go ahead and go backwards. I kind of felt warmed up the minute I walked out here. Open and close for a crisscross. So our little variations on our push-ups today. We'll be doing regular push-ups. Just to go through a point. We still got about a minute before we start. So when you're doing push-ups, this is something spent a little time talking about in previous classes, but the position of your arms matters quite a bit, okay? So one thing I want you to think about with a push-up is that you can put your hands in lots of positions and do push-ups. but the position that your arms are in changes where the stress is in the exercise. And so if your arms, let's say, are flared out like this, you're really putting a lot of pressure into the shoulder joint. So when you're doing push-ups, your elbows should be towards the back, okay, down at an angle. And generally, if you're in here, this is what a lot of people call the military push-up, right? Where your elbows are really tucked in tight, right? But something with them a little bit out, and we'll do a few variations like that, is okay. We just want to avoid this, right? If you find yourself down on the ground doing push-ups and you're hunching your shoulders up and you're like that, right? That's not good for you, okay? So I'd rather see you get down on your knees and do easier push-ups in a better position than try to force yourself into something, because a lot of people can do that, feel stronger. All right, so we're getting down on the floor for push-ups. Ready? Speaking of arm position, we got push-ups for a minute. So let's do some negatives, nice and slow on the way down, right? And then one quick move up, right? So this can be done from the knees or up on the toes. That's up to you. Notice my elbows are bending mostly to the back. I'm at an angle here with the arms. You can also notice my hands are below and just outside my shoulders. So they aren't ahead of my shoulders. That's important. You can see my head going down to the ground. It's way out in front of my hands, okay? Now, if that's challenging for you, that's fine. Just put the knees down and work it from that position. And as always, when we're doing negatives, you can lower yourself down, plop yourself on the ground, and get yourself back up. Right? That's fine. Fight your way through that position. Try to maintain it. We're going to go to Russian twist next. The countdown. So first set of twists, I'm going to keep my feet on the ground. Just do a little easy twist. I always like to think of this first post as a kind of doubling as the warm-up. So we're going through the motions. If you want to intensify, you can take the feet off the ground. Start moving the feet with the upper body. But it's totally okay. Keep the feet down. Remember, spine straight here, so no slouching. Trying to rotate the upper body around. You've only got 45 degrees to turn here, right? So my body can turn 45. My hands can come down here. See that? But the actual twisting, that's it, 45 degrees. And I'm just trying to reach with my arms. We have air squats coming up. So, dropping down in the squats. So remember, for the squat, I've heard lots of different tips on squats, okay? What I want you to do today is if you're starting that upright position, the knees bend first, okay? Knees first, then hips. The whole goal here is to sink your hips and your upper body straight down. I don't want you to go backwards like that, okay? So we're going down first here, boom, and then up. If you find, like me, I think I've said it before, when I drop down here, right, if I keep going lower, I'm going to fall over backwards. And for me, that's because I have tight ankles. So just drop down to the limit for you. If you can use your hands out in front of you as a counterbalance, that's fine. But I want you to try to get your hips almost as low as you need. You can go lower as long as you're keeping your posture upright. See how I'm up? Looking up there. All right, burpees. I didn't tell you that one because I didn't want you to, run in fear, right? The burpee. Let's do the basic burpee, which is back, and up, okay? If you want the advanced burpee, there's a push-up in there. Okay, so. Now remember, the way to modify a burpee, keep going while I'm talking, but if you need to modify it, put your hands down and just kind of walk your feet back, and then walk them in, and then come up, right? So that would be a lower version of burpee, and you can't see it on camera, but one of my students out here is choosing to do mountain climbers an alternative. So if there's a reason why doing a burpee and jumping isn't okay for you, you can always replace it with a different exercise. I better do a few burpees to catch up though. See, as the teacher, I get to stop and lecture every now and then while you guys are all working. All right. So now we have a little break. We'll go through that whole circuit again. since we're warmed up now, right? Oops, we have to do that. So I forgot to turn my notifications off on the phone. It's the downside of using your phone. So if you hear little beeps and whistles and things, that's people sending me messages. It might even be some of you commenting. What was I saying? Right, warming up. So now we're going through this a second time. We can pick up the intensity a little bit, right? So we did negatives on the push-ups the first time. Let's just bang them out this time, right? Just try to do as many as you can correctly. You can always regress down the negative. 1 minute of push-ups. Another way to vary your push-ups a little bit is where your feet are. So I can have my feet wide or my feet closer together. A little wider might make you feel more stable. But maybe you don't want to feel stable. Maybe you want to challenge yourself and the feet are really pressed tight together. And we're not counting here. It's perfectly okay. I was talking to someone about this the other day. If you're doing a set of push-ups, you know, it's your workout. So you do as many as you can. You need to take a second off, recover, and then get back to it. Or as always, regress to an easier push-up. All right, I want you to do that. But try to keep your body working as continuously as you can. You know, you're going to hit some muscle failure. Russian twist. That's the goal, right? Momentary muscle failure. Don't focus on the term failure there, okay? You know, as a trainer, that comes up. But I don't like failing. It's not that kind of failing. You're not failing at life if you can't do another push-up because you wore yourself out. I've had to have that conversation with grown adults. You're okay. This is a good kind of fail. It's just a word. It means your muscles are tired out so much, they have to grow stronger so you can keep doing this, right? That's the idea. So go for it. Right? Push yourself to that point of muscular fatigue. Air squats. So ways to vary the squats. Okay, I talked about the hand positions here. I can also make my stance wider, right? So sometimes if you have some tightness, making the stance wider helps. Again, break at the knees first, then the hips drop back and down, right? And that's the position I'm trying to achieve right there, right? At the bottom of the squat, if you hover down there for a bit, you can play around with where your weight is, right? Are you a little to the back like this? Are you up on your toes? Try to find a position, right, where you feel pretty balanced. The feet are flat on the floor, a little turned out. By the way, holding that position feels pretty good too. How about you do like a 3-second hold at the bottom? And then come up, right? Burpees. Yeah. Basic burpee. Oh, that was an advanced burpee. So, how are you modifying the burpee? Are you replacing it with something else? Okay, that's totally fine. Could be mountain climbers, could be little steps like this, right? I like something that varies it. You could add a push-up in there if you want to, because I know you're not already tired out from all the other push-ups you've been doing. Or the ones you've got coming. I've said this before, but if you can think all the way back to the very first time we did this class, right? When I first started doing it, I couldn't do this burpee very well. So I've seen progress. And that feels motivating. So I hope that you're getting some of the same thing. If you've done this consistently, here's a rest. Right? If you've been doing this consistently, that you're actually seeing some changes. There might be small changes, right? A little bit at a time, but that's actually what you want. Just slow, steady progress. All right. So pose 2, Spider-Man push-up. Now here's what we're going to do today. Gonna make this a little challenging. I'm gonna keep the same position with the hands. I'm gonna widen the feet. I'm gonna drop down on the push-up, and I'm gonna pull my knee up to my elbow, and then come down, right? All right, that does a couple things. Shifts my weight into one hand or the other. Also makes it a little more complicated, right? So bringing the knee to the elbow. Then we got mountain climbers, skaters, and some jumping jacks, right? That's pretty basic. But the centerpiece of this one is the Spider-Man push-up. Here we go. So, right? So start again, same basic hand position for the arms and the elbows and the hands. See how my elbows going to the back? And I'm just trying to bring that leg around as far as I can. Challenge yourself to lift your knee up nice and high to the outside. Now you could break that move down. I'm trying to do the push-up and the leg move kind of simultaneously, right? See that? But if it helps you to break it down a little bit, you know, let's say down with the push-up, then the arm. I don't know, that actually might be harder. I think that is harder. Give yourself permission to have a bad rep every now and then. All right, mountain climbers, right? You go right into mountain climbers. So now you've tired your arms out. Now you just gotta hold it. Mountain climbers after push-ups is rough. Right? I'm not trying to sugarcoat this. It's not my job to come out there and say, don't worry, you're gonna be okay. You are gonna be okay. But right now we're gutting it out, right? Right? If you're in your house right now and you're swearing and spitting, right? Spraying sweat everywhere, then you're doing the right thing. The only reason these people out here aren't swearing is because they're being recorded. Mountain climbers too have variations, right? I can do alternating steps to slow it down. I can do a jump switch, right, like that. Be kind of deliberate. First, I want to pick up the pace, but for now, it is skaters, right? So, little side jump, okay? Now the skater is about lateral, that is sideways movement. In this case, the super version of this is explosive power. So what I'm trying to do is leap sideways and land with balance, right? So how do we modify that? Well, we don't leap so much. We just take a big step. But either way, try to push off of that foot, okay? The centerpiece of that move is the push off of the down foot. Whew. See how the hands swing into the move. This kind of body control is how you keep your balance. You get the whole body working together, and then once you got it, then you can pick it up. Get a lower touch to the ground. Jumping jacks. You can go right to it. Back up a little bit. This feels like rest. How do you modify a jumping jack? Right, I don't want to jump, Dave. Impact is important to avoid. So, alternating steps. Right, you could do something like this. Right, you could just kind of march in place while moving the arms. All of those are fine for what we're doing. Then you got the full-on jumping jack. If jumping jacks really bore you, you could do something like this. Amen. Cross-country skiers. 14 seconds. You got a rest coming up. Why did that feel like 2 minutes to jumping jacks? All right, keep walking. Okay, so we go back, we cycle through that again. Spider-Man push-up, mountain climber, skater, jumping jack. Then we'll move on to pose 3. Oh, I'm walking off the shot. Gotta remember, right? I gotta stay right here, on my mark. How are we feeling out there? Guys, all right?
Yeah.
It's hot. It's hot. It's definitely warm out there. All right, so Spider-Man push-ups. Pace yourself, especially in the heat. Right? You don't have to go through it your fastest. Here's a tidbit for you, a little muscle and body physiology. Your body spends more energy trying to deal with the extra heat than it does doing any of the exercises that you're doing. Right? Your body right now is burning calories going, it's hot out here. You gotta turn on the cooling system, right? All right. Now don't take that to mean that if you just go sit in a sauna and get your body temperature up really hot that you're burning a lot of calories. It's not quite how it works. But your body does spend a lot of fuel on getting rid of heat. Although sitting in a sauna, well, we don't need to. We're already in one right now. Mountain climbers. So, you want a variation on your mountain climber? You can do one of these kind of Spider-Man mountain climbers, right? Where you bring the feet to the outside, right? Just an option, right? You can stay to the middle. If you're really gung-ho, you could do a little combination, you know, like in, out, in. Yeah? No? Am I the only one? Just a fun way to vary it, you know? There's nothing wrong with doing that. Just try to stay good in your technique. So here's something with mountain climbers. Try to keep your hips level. Look at my hips. They are not going up and down. When I go to the outside, see how my hips stay relatively low. So I'm not doing this. I'm going up and down in the air, right? I'm trying to keep the hips still and do all that without lifting them. That's a challenge, right? That actually is a good sign of your upper body strength. Skaters, look at this, it's dripping. So it's a big push off of that foot. So if you're doing fewer of them, but doing them with more power, that's okay. If you're feeling like you got it, then you're boom, 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 right? You're just going. Boom. What's the rhythm for your breathing? Right? So, exhale, exhale. A little puff out on each jump. You take your breath in, right here where I land on the setup. I'm making it loud on purpose. But if you're out there and you're doing this, you hear that? Right, try to get a hold of it, try to control it, find a rhythm. Make the breath part of the rep. Jumping jacks. So listen to this pattern. I'm going to set a pattern. This is what works for me. Right? I'm going out, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, like that. So on 2, 3, 4, I'm breathing in. Right? Maybe a little quicker rhythm works better for you, maybe something slower. I mean, I could do you see that? So now I'm going out, out, in, in. So the breathing is actually part of the exercise. There's a rep. Again, I'm making mine loud so you can hear it. Okay, good, that's rest. How you doing? How's the breathing? Is that making sense? See, since I'm here live with a few people, and there's only 3 of them, I hear a lot of gasping, sucking wind, right? But this is important for all of you, especially when you're doing sustained rhythmic moves. Patterns to your breathing are going to help you, right, endure a little bit more. You got someplace to sit down? Right.
Nice couch.
Got you plenty of water? I got this cool little swing to sit on back here. Okay. Post 3. Post 3, tricep push-ups. Super close grip, elbows are in. Then we do bicycle abs, and then I'll tell you the rest later. So, tricep press. Now, Tricep, yep. So now we're really bending the elbow straight to the back and trying to focus on full extension of the elbows, right? That's what makes it a tricep press. We're still working the chest and the shoulders, but we're trying to emphasize triceps. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I am really digging the heel of my palms into the floor or into the mat. Now this is relatively cushy, so it's kind of forgiving, but press into that part of the hand. The fingers are there to help with stability, but you're really pushing down. Yeah, I can kind of actually lift my fingers right off the ground. Squeeze, full extension. Remember, you can regress down to knees on the floor. That's fine. Never feel ashamed for modifying, right? That's fine. We just want to keep the work steady. Keep those elbows tucked right against your body. Bicycle abs. So that's the crisscross. In Pilates, we call it the crisscross. So here's another one, long sustained move. Find a rhythm for your breath so that the breath is part of the exercise, right? Exhale, inhale, exhale. So if I'm doing these nice slow reps, I can do that. If I want to set a faster pace, I got to change the rhythm of the breathing to fit it. So it might be something like this. Right? In on two, out on two. Out, out, in, like that. Now one thing, when you're doing ab work, breathing in can feel really tough, right? It feels restricted because you're tightening your stomach muscles, and when you breathe in, there's no room for your body to expand. But we'll get to that later. Lunge jumps, right? Remember these? Okay, so the full-on jump is going down into a lunge and then switching, okay? For those of you who don't want to leave the ground, right, just step up. Now that switch can be quick, right? So there's a line between just stepping, right, like this, and then the full jump, like that, okay? And that would be a quick switch, like that. Okay, so lost my balance there. So I'm gonna come up, quick switch, quick switch. So that would be the middle ground between those two exercises, right? So if you start wearing out on the jumps, you might drop down to some quick switches. Make sure you got something nice and cushy down there for your knee to bump into. All right, bear crawl. So I'm gonna do 4 forward and 4 back. But if you've got a long enough room, you can go in circles, you can go in squares, right? Now the bear crawl, like the mountain climber, right? It's got kind of a core element, and that is hip control, okay? So if I'm looking at you, like I'm looking at my 3 amazing examples out here, Jonathan's dream, I'm looking for them to keep their hips flat, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, I don't want to see the hips rolling from side to side while you're going through your steps. What we're striving for is pretty flat and level hips. Even if I go to some kind of sideways move or a backwards move, right, my hips should, hopefully if I'm demonstrating this correctly, stay pretty still. I don't know how they look. Are they staying pretty still? All right, rest time. But that's what we're striving for. Now, why to do that? Well, if you can keep your hips still, that gets me know, especially as the trainer looking at you from the outside, that you're coordinating your upper and lower body well together, right? And that the strength and control of your abs, hips, right, is working together so that you're able to be in control of your movement. There might be times when I deliberately want you to twist your hips. So for example, if we do something like what I call the dragon crawl, right, which is taking the bear crawl, getting it low and making it big and kind of lizard-like. I'll show you. But first is tricep push-ups. So remember, the elbows are pointing straight back and your arms should be tucked right against the side of your body. Each press should be full extension, right? So that's it, Linda. Lock those elbows out, right? Pop them. I don't mean let me rephrase that, right? I don't want you to pop your elbow hard, but I want you to extend the arm and then tighten the tricep at the top, okay? So, I don't know if you can see it, but when I get to the top here, I'm gonna flex my tricep muscles, which kind of feels like I'm pushing my elbows out. But I don't want you to overdo it like that. Just try to full extend, tense up the triceps at the top. Nice, slow, steady reps, right? Because your triceps will get cooked pretty quick. Hey, at least it's not diamonds, right? You can thank Farah for this. She wrote this one up today. Bicycles. So, you have a rhythm? So again, lengthen. Push that leg out. Twist the body. Get the opposite elbow going away. And focus on the foot and elbow that are going away from each other. Right? Just that little shift in focus makes it, see, the trainer in me should say more effective. But it hurts more. Everybody likes to think that trainers are mean. You know what? We don't start out mean, but we end up mean. Kind of by effect, right? I'm not feeling mean on the inside, but what I'm doing to you feels mean to you, doesn't it? All right, lunge jumps. Lunge jumps. Here's the funny thing. I'm not actually doing anything to you. You're just doing what I say. Good job, by the way. You're doing it to yourself. But seriously, that's the point, right? That's the point. Right? To drive yourself, maybe with the support of friends, of a coach, right? But you're really driving yourself to accomplish this, right? To make your body go through the work, right? To deal with what it feels like, the discomfort, the heat, the sweat. Who's left? Nobody's left yet. Right, but boy, you know, when you've been able to face that kind of challenge and deal with it and come out of it on the other side successful, it feels incredible. And that's what happened to me, actually, with the real life basic training, right? It's like 10 months of just agony. And then you come out on the other side. Let's see, what are we doing? Bear crawls. Bear crawl, bear crawl, bear crawl. You come out on the other side and you realize you made it. And not only that, you've got the results to show for it. So that's what you tell yourself when you're in the heat of the worst, most uncomfortable moments, right? You're in the middle of a bunch of bear crawls and your arms are tired and the sweat is dripping in your eyes and you're just like, gosh, I just want to stop, right? Well, what do you tell? You tell yourself these results are going to be worth it, right? The end result is going to pay off. I'm going to have a stronger, more coordinated body. I'm going to feel like I've accomplished something. Something you can be proud of. All right. One more pose to go. You got to rest. So, cobras. I know, the cobra. The cobra is really putting everything we just did together in a way. Right? So, here I am. Same push-up position, right? Starting here. The elbows bend. Look where my elbows are bending. Not out here. Back here. The body comes close to the ground. Look at that. See my arms? Look, in midpoint, I should look like a push-up. And then extend into that tricep press. Then the elbows bend back. Now this is the hardest part right here. That is shoulders. That is shoulders, right? So if you got to bail out of that one part and get yourself into a starting position, fine, right? You ready? All right, here we go. See the elbows bending back? Tricep press with a little bit of a back bend, right? Nice stretch here. Bring your body low, elbows back. Now push straight back through that. Don't start going up until your head has passed your hands. Yeah, I let my elbows flare a little on that one. Nice and slow, 1 rep at a time. That's better. after everything we've just done, this should be the worst, right? And why am I telling you that? Dave, don't do that. That doesn't encourage me. No. I want you to face it, right? Yes, it's the worst. Now get it. Go out there and do it. That's where the spitting, the cussing, and the, right? All right, it's reverse crunches, so right on your back. Now, a couple variations on reverse crunch. I like to put my hands here behind the head, sort of slightly lift the shoulders, and just do a curl this way. If you need to keep the head down, the hands can come down next to the hips. And then another level would be to actually slip your hands under the pelvis for a little support, right? So for those of you maybe with a little strain in the lower back, I might recommend this position right here. Progressing all the way out to hands behind the head, chest elevated. Notice, by the way, my feet, my knees are slightly bent. I've got my ankles crossed, but from the knee down to my hip, I'm not passing out. I'm just doing the pull back, and I'm returning to the start position, which is knees above hips. Frog jumps. All right, frog jumps right now. Listen, if you're doing a good frog jump, it's not like up here. See, look at this. I'm just standing up and hopping forward a little bit. No! It should be like this. Right? So, now, as always, find a depth of this and the length of jump that is appropriate for you. I want you to challenge yourself appropriately. That's important. Now, that might take some practice and some figuring, but if you're not going to a full squat and doing this whole jump way down here. See, look, I'm staying in the crouch. I'm actually not coming up. Trying to keep the load on consistently. And the burn. But you know what comes after this, right after we burn our quads like this? We do those low jumping jacks. Remember I said that cobras are the worst? No. Quads, when they're on fire, here we go. There is really no other sensation, muscle burn in the body worse to me than the quads burning. It is utterly agonizing. Right? Dave, stop. You're supposed to be cheering me on. I am. I want you to cope. I want you to deal. Right? Right? Yes, it's agonizing. It burns. So what do you do when you encounter something like that, right? Like I tell my karate students, you know, there's three kinds of people, generally. There's the people that go, oh, no, I don't want to do that. They don't ever try. Then you've got people who try it. I don't think I can do this. I can't do it. I can't, Dave, I can't. Right? And then there's these people. Oh, man, right? They're swearing, they're growling, they're gritting their teeth, they're fired up, they're determined. Which one are you? Don't answer that question.
One more, Leah.
One more. One more. Remember, in spite of what I just said, appropriate for you. Okay? Yes, I want you to push yourself. Yes, I want you to feel challenged, but I don't want you to overdo it in a way that could hurt you. So you have to find that balance between the push, right, and the correct moves for you. All right, here we go. You ready for post 4? One last time. Cobra push-ups. So, whatever you got left in the tank, I want you to spend it right now. You're not saving it for something, right? What are you saving it for? The next workout? No, this is where you spend it. Whew. So whatever version of this exercise you're doing, maybe you're down on the knees and you're doing a slightly less intense version, that's fine. But I want you to spend that fuel right now. Right, you're going for the finish line here. Sorry, you're still bending the elbows to the back. Remember, at any point in the move, you could bail out and just go back to the starting position. So when your muscles hit that failure point, right? That's okay. Reverse crunch. So we're trying to keep the workload on. I know you've heard Ferris say it. All these phrases that float around in your career, in your profession, right? Right now in the personal training world and the fitness world, it's time under tension, right? So that means how long do you keep those muscles loaded up with work, right? You're trying to go to that limit, whatever that is for you, and then you can say, okay, hold on, got to recover for a few seconds, but then you get right back in. If you're regulating your workout that way, over time, you take fewer of those little breaks midway, right? As your muscles get more, they gain more endurance, you don't have to rest as often. Or you could be a trainer like me, frog jumps, and you've got a built-in excuse because you have to stop and explain things to your students, right? No, you know, that looks great, Dara, that's great, yeah, keep going. Yeah, yeah. And she's in there going, Dave, you're supposed to be doing this too. Another phrase for trainers, lead by example. So that is a good definition of the difference between a leader and a boss, right? Your trainer shouldn't be your boss. I mean, in a way, right? A boss is just someone who tells you what to do, right? A leader says, follow me.
One is manage, one is motivate.
There you go. There we go, right? See, we got some corporate speak in the background. Jargon, what'd I say? Whew. Low jacks. This is it. Get into it. I was talking to a guy who works in insurance industry, project manager, and he's like, you know, he's talking about the scrum, and he's agile, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I know what they mean now, but I was like, what, you guys are playing rugby? That's awesome, I want this job. He's like, no, it's not exactly what it means. Are you low jacking? What are you doing? Which of those three are you? I want you to be swearing at me, right? I want somebody in your house who's asleep right now to wake up and go, what is going on downstairs?
I'll call you boss.
Why is my mom swearing like a truck driver? Oh man, that burns. Good job, everybody. All right, you did a great job. Keep moving, right? I know you probably want to flop down on the ground or something.
Yep.
But just keep your body moving a little bit, okay? We just let yourself cool down. Nice slow breathing to get your heart rate and your breath back to something like normal. So post-workout breathing, right? If you just let it go, you can hear me, right? Heart rate is up, the breathing rate is up. So how do I control it? I deliberately slow it down, right? So I'm going to breathe in for 4 counts. I'm going to hold it, and then I'm going to breathe out for 4. We'll add a little arm movement to that. A little hold, and then right?
You done?
So now, my breathing is a little bit closer to normal, right? Just doing that 3 or 4 times. All right, everybody, listen, I don't want you just to flop down. You need to do a little stretching, a little cool down before you go to do whatever's coming next, although I recommend most of us take a cool shower right about now. But until next Tuesday, I hope you have a wonderful week. Everybody be well, stay safe, and remember, we love you and we miss you. We can't wait to see you back in the building when we can open. For real, by the way, you can come in now if you haven't been in the building yet. You know,
know, we do have people coming in. We've got some really good measures in place. We were just talking about them earlier. And I think you'll feel pretty safe if you decide that you're comfortable enough to come in the building. But until I see you again in person, you have a great day and a great week. Bye, everybody.